RhythmandSoulRadio.com. I am Marco Nobles. We have our virtual studio open, and walking in our virtual studio is an extremely special guest. She is a legend. She is a four-time Grammy nominee, a Tony Award winner. Many artists have tried to follow in this woman's footsteps, and she is still continuing to reinvent herself. Some decades into her career, we are talking to the legendary Melba Moore. Miss Moore, how are you?
Oh, fantastic, Marco. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being with us. Thank you for taking the time. So, I guess we'll start from where we are now and work our way back. You have the new album that's
Yes.
just been released.
Yes, it's called Imagine,
Hmm.
and it's on my daughter's label, which is Gallery Entertainment. So this is the first, this is a family project.
Oh wow.
And she's had a lot of experiences and she's grown up in the industry, but she's never been an executive producer. Of course, I made her the boss. You remember that word nepotism?
Yeah, right. That it should work. It's worked for others. It should work for us.
Exactly. And it came about because she, with her uncle Bo Huggins, who's been in back of all of my successful music, were just continuing to listen to music and thinking of, well, they came across songs that they thought were great for me. And
Mm,
when she brought them to me, I said, well, maybe, but I don't have a label now. I'm not with the Huggins family anymore, except through you. So, what are we going to do with this? So she said, well, my Uncle Bo wants you to just go in the studio and try a couple of songs, listen to them, see what you think, and then we'll see what we'll do after that. Well, after about 15 songs, over about 3 years, realized we had enough songs to do an album. And so that's how Imagine is one of the songs. And it's probably the key song in terms of what the theme of the album is about. It's about imagine if love and peace was on every street. It's like that.
mm,
And of course, we feel that is so very vital to people who maybe, even if they like the record, they wouldn't pay so much attention to the message if things weren't so violent and turbulent and deadly right now. So
mm.
we feel like God has given us a really timely project. He's reunited the family, which
Hmm.
these days is just, I mean, nobody gets reunited. We're not married again, but we respect each other as a family that God created. That gives us a great deal of power, and it gives us an incredible message to send along with, I hope, a hit album. Download it.
Absolutely. And what's interesting about this project is the couple of singles that have kind of led us to hearing the full album. So in love, and take me away. The songs that we've been playing a lot, and so in love, everybody's been playing. That started to become a hit. And that's been really interesting because throughout the pandemic, you were very visible for those of us who were online, and whether we were watching and listening to D Nice or
Right.
others, you really kind of organically reinvented yourself and reintroduced yourself to a whole new generation of fans through
Yes.
the pandemic.
Yes. And it's very interesting. If you weren't in your field, if you were uh, in the rock field or just another dance field or the theater field, you would say, well, gee, what happened to you, Melba? Because they don't listen to those things,
Hmm.
but they don't know who D Nice is.
Hmm.
And right now, everybody knows who D Nice is.
Right, right,
But
right.
my point is just how vast the internet is and how global it is. So it's a whole new introduction, not just to new fans in my genre, but to the whole world.
Right, right. You've we talk about your legendary career and all that you've done, but you also through your career have been open and taught so many of us really about the business. You went through a lot on the business side that became very public, and I know that had to be very difficult for you, but it was also a teaching moment for so many artists, and I'm wondering how many of them really understand, and maybe go to you and really recognize how your lessons help them as they navigate through their career.
Well, I'm finding that I get lots and lots of questions of how do you keep picking yourself up? How, what should you know about the business? And one of the underlying things I would say is seek God first. I hate to be religious, but He created all of this stuff for us. And so now what I'm experiencing that I can tell people about that they're probably going to think is a real miracle, and so do I, is the reuniting of our family and in a
Mm,
business project where
yeah.
we work together, we prosper each other, and obviously we have huge differences.
It's a lesson in overcoming
Yes,
obstacles, overcoming differences, and being able to work toward a higher goal.
you said it, honey. Preach, honey.
Absolutely. Um, Speaking of preaching, the last time I was honored to be in your presence. We did a project during Harlem Week, and that was in the midst of the pandemic.
Right.
Um, and at the time, you were promoting or re-promoting your version of "Lift Every Voice and Sing" that you had done a couple decades earlier. And it's
Right.
just interesting how things come around or come back around in terms of how timely, how important that is. This is the first year that Juneteenth is really recognized
Official,
as a
yes.
national federal holiday. So, I'm sure that there is a lot even within that song for you now as well.
Absolutely. Well, the song, my new album, my testimony, my biography, um, says that you have an identity. God gave it to you. Stick with it, no matter where it takes you. Try to follow God, not just yourself. You got to follow yourself. But many times we stop because we think, "Oh, I got this idea. I'll go." Go back to God and say, "Okay, what do you want me to do with this?"
Mm,
And after all these years, Black people, some of us, if we're from the North, sometimes we don't know how long Juneteenth has been in the making,
hmm
or how long Martin Luther King's birthday took before it became official. And now our national hymn, "Lift Every Voice and Sing," is in the congressional record as the official anthem. But we came here as slaves.
hmm
So that's the lesson. Stick with your identity and let it evolve, let it grow, mature in it. Because when we start anything, we don't know anything. So you have to stick with it. So, and I think it helps not only enhance. I think it helps add years to your life.
mm.
I think it does.
Absolutely. That's and you have shown yourself to be ageless because you're still going. You've been in the business. I don't want to give you extra years. Has it been?
It's
Is it
it's, it's almost 50.
almost 50? I was gonna say 50. I wasn't sure if
Yeah,
it made
but
50
but
yet.
but the important thing is God says that's a jubilee. Those church people know what jubilee is. He
Yes.
forgives everything, and He rewards you like 100 times in this life for whatever
hmm
you've lost, and He gets it all back to you. So if you can hold out and not let the world just crush you and make you give up, you got some incredible, miraculous things like getting a family back together like this. When people don't get back together, they don't do it.
We're talking with the legendary Melba Moore. She has the new album Imagine, with the singles "So in Love" and "Take Me Away" and a number of other songs. And you mentioned this is on your daughter's label now, and it's a family produced project, so everything is comes through the family in terms of all the production and all
So
that.
let me tell you the name of the company. It's Gallery Entertainment. The
Okay.
people who are mature citizens of Harlem will remember Charles's Gallery on
Mm,
125th Street, down the street from the Apollo. That's the
mm,
inspiration for it because she was born during those days. So now it's her turn to carry on the message that Charles and I started. And so
mm,
that's the inspiration for Gallery Entertainment. And the logo is um, um, Charlie Huggins Gallery with a picture of a turntable with um, a record with a needle on it.
mm-hmm.
So we telling you to remember the past and remember when we had records playing and CDs
Yes.
are about obsolete now too.
Yeah.
Well, and to pass it on to your next generation. And this is co-executive produced with her uncle Bo, who I shouldn't call him my ex. brother-in-law anymore. Well, yes, and we're not married anymore, but we're not married to his brother anymore. But he has a key part in this portion because he always did. If you take out the elements that made you successful, it's not going to be successful because you're missing something.
Hmm.
So it's on Gallery Entertainment. Her name is Charlie. I should I should say it the way it's pronounced, Charli, which is really Charlie.
Okay.
Needless to say, she's named after Charles.
Right, right, right. Yeah. It's interesting because you mentioned the history and how you came to the name of the entertainment company. But your history is interesting, and it really informs, especially these last few years, and how you've really kind of expanded and rebranded yourself. Because you come from a musical family, heavy jazz family.
Right,
Spending time in the Harlem jazz clubs and all
right,
that,
right.
and then yeah, and doing, but also doing gospel and doing Broadway musicals and
Yes,
all of that, and now it comes kind of full circle in
yes,
terms of not only are you doing the R&B that you had hits with you years ago, but you're also doing house music, you're doing
right.
ballads, you're doing all of these things, and it's like you mentioned being able to keep yourself young, and it seems like
Well, I didn't say I did it. I said he does it.
right, right, right. but I would think though that helps keep you young in terms of
Yeah,
being able to really stretch out in these different areas.
right,
Because you
right.
spend a lot, and we had this conversation briefly once before, that you do spend time on Instagram and some of the social media and
Yeah,
follow the music that's out here
right.
with artists, and a lot of artists who are mature artists don't do that. They kind of say that's their music, or that's not for me. But you've embraced it all.
Well, but I get a lot of help doing that. But I remember being a child in a musical family, and hearing Bebop Common, Bill Evans and Gil Evans and Horace Silver and Dizzy Gillespie and Sarah Vaughan, and everybody saying, "Oh, this new music, that's not going to be anything." About every 10 years, they become proven wrong. So I
Hmm.
learned from that lesson as a child. Get ready for when it changes, because God is going to do a new thing. So get ready. And it's not
Right.
comfortable, it's not easy. And generally, none of these genres have been my style. But I did have a good education in vocal music. And my natural style was classical, so I did that very easily. But I like R&B like everybody else.
Mm.
So as a student of vocal music education, I determined perhaps I could learn to do it. And so I would encourage everybody to try to keep their minds open because it's going to continue to change. Which doesn't mean that you don't choose your own, what moves you and makes you feel good. But sometimes keep an ear and eye open to just what somebody else is. It's like having a conversation. Let me listen to you and you listen to me. I don't have to
Mm.
agree with you. But if you open your mind, you probably get something you really are glad you didn't miss.
Right, right, right. How do you figure out, like I mentioned, some of the house music stuff that you've been doing lately? You follow D Nice, you end up performing with D Nice on some of his Club Quarantine concerts and that sort of thing.
Wow.
So I mean, the D Nice is easy because he's been so gracious, uh,
Yes.
thanking you for supporting and listening and always shouting
You
you
know,
out when he was
and
doing
not
it.
not only me, some other artists too that
Yes,
he's
and many others. Yes,
connected. Yes.
yes, and many others. But always paying tribute to our legends, and you are certainly one.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and but there are others. Whether you're doing house music or some other R&B, how have you determined how to work with some of these younger artists who reach out to you and kind of look up to you and revere you and kind of take a shot in the dark and say maybe Melba Moore will work with me on this project.
I have an incredible partner by the name of Ron Richardson. He helps me with my social media and staying abreast of everything because I couldn't do it and keep up my side of the bargain, which is to stay in touch with God, see what He's saying, and really focus on that. Make Him first. Make that my job, my study. But he does. He's a God person too. He really stays out there and he plugs me in. And so when there's a songwriter producer that has some new music that they want to present to me, he'll present it to me. We'll go over it and determine if it's something we think I could or should do. And so we keep the door open for new artists to collaborate with in every kind of way. So we're always doing things like this. And this album is really speaks of this because it's so organic and it's in all of the categories that I'm in. But of course, that would be natural because my family did it. But I'm not suggesting everybody do an album with their family because they may not have the experience and expertise and the anointing that I
Hmm.
think fell upon this. And I think some of it happened because I said, okay, I'm not going to hold grudges. I'm going to put that aside. That's over. Let me
Hmm.
listen like that. Um, and I listened without any restrictions. Like, is it going to be good for radio? Am I going to pan it for dance? I didn't do that. I just heard my daughter. Were you going to say no to your daughter? No, you're not going to say to your daughter.
Right.
At least to listen.
Right. Right. Right.
And what I found out was she showed me the experience that I've probably been having that I'll pay more attention to. You look very different to somebody looking at you than you do from yourself.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
both are important because if I sing or do anything for myself, and I'm the only one that loves it, of course, and it's not marketable. If it turns out to be that way, but if you continue in that way of just looking from your point of view and you mature, you're going to get old and stale, and you're going to your heart is going to harden. You won't be able to say, okay, because you risk. Oh my God, they're not going to like me. Nobody wants to experience that.
Right.
You
Right.
always risk that somebody's not going to approve. So she helps me, stay open. So, and Ron, stay open so that when people bring new things, I don't make the decision by myself. And
Hmm.
I put everything aside and listen to see, oh, let me listen to what's going on around me now. Can I fit into that naturally? Am I just trying to jump on a wagon, or is there something in it that allows me to say a message? Can I put a long high note in there somewhere or something?
Right, right. So you can have, Melba Moore be truly seen by everybody, and we know it's Melba Moore because that is distinctful.
Yes.
You know, Zither Soul Radio. We're talking with the legendary Melba Moore. The new album is Imagine. It is now available anywhere that you can download your music. Um, and now, do you have your website and it's on your website as well, or
It's on my website as well, which is melbamore.com. I'm on
okay?
Instagram, which is Melba, the number one, more, and everywhere else. I can't remember else. Because if you go to my website, I'll tell you everything, whatever social media networks, I can't say it, that I'm on.
Right, absolutely. Well,
I'm still
everybody.
busy adjusting.
And how is that's a good question too because as we've started to come outside as we say, how has
Yeah.
that adjustment been for you because we're kind of in the pandemic still but kind of coming back out, and so it's still we're still in between space. So how do you and I know performing for you and any performer is a real big part of who you are to be able to perform in front of people. So how are you adjusting to that part of it?
Well, wherever I can, I always wear a mask.
Mm.
Sometimes my daughter says, Ma, you're in the house, you don't have to wear the mask. Because things are habitual. So you can get in
Yes,
the habit of being sloppy about your health, or you can, err on the side of safety.
yes.
I eat very, very clean because these viruses are infections. And so if your immune system is not healthy, so I drink plenty, 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 plenty of water. All of the things that I need to do to keep my whole temple, body, mind, uh, uh, in good health and in tune, and try not to eat too much junk because
Hmm.
sometimes when you're a little anxious, you want to have take your comfort in food. So I would warn you to just be very careful. Drink a lot of water. Don't eat a lot of red meats.
Hmm.
I know they're good. I love steaks, but too much of it, then your body kind of builds up things it doesn't digest. Not just going through your digestive system, but they don't break down like they should to go like vegetables and stuff goes immediately to all of the different cells to feed them, and give them life because the vegetables and salads are more still live food, so they transmit life. So it's not like I just, well, I don't eat meat. There's a reason. And then your life is cleansed, and so it gets a chance to regenerate itself, and so you get a chance to rejuvenate yourself, and so you get a
Mhm.
chance to live longer.
Yes, yes,
But put on the
absolutely.
mask, sanitize a lot. Um, I need help sometimes in not hugging people because I'm a hugger. But
Right.
Ron will say, Miss Moore, get back. It's usually you have to tell the people, get off her. But
Yeah.
we love each other. We want to do this. So I try to remind people, try to retain from being too close up on each other because,
Mm.
you can spread the germs. And especially your children and everything. Put masks, cover them, and sanitize them a lot.
Yes, yes. Well, we certainly want to make sure, and we want everybody around you to make sure you are continuing to stay safe. We want to make sure that we're being safe around you because we definitely need more music, as evidence from this new album and what we've heard thus far. There's more music from you, and we need it. So we need you around us, and we
Thank you.
thank you so much for
Thank
taking the
you.
time and talking with us. Melba Moore. The new album is Imagine, available everywhere. Go to melbamore.com. You can get the album and get it anywhere you get your music from downloading. And
Yes.
I guess the few physical albums
Yeah.
or CDs there are out there in the world, you
Yeah.
can get it that way too if you want.
I think Amazon still sells some records.
Okay, well there you
Not
go.
sure.
There you go. You can work on that. Miss Moore, thank you
Please.
so much for
Thank
taking the time
you.
and talking with us.
Thank you. I'm
Always a
excited to
pleasure.
be with you. Thank you.
All right. It's Rhythm and Soul Radio. Here's more Melba Moore right now.